and he wanted to go and build a house on it and stuff. And now, after having all this rain and clouds and rain and snow and whatever they've had back there, he says, I wouldn't want to live there now. Because he found out how gloomy it is when the sun doesn't come out very often.
Well, I remember when we were going to Dundee School in the winters and stuff, it was up and down. We had up and down on the way to school, and I had this heavy wool blue snowsuit. It's like the Michelin Man, and galoshes, and it was awful. It was heavy. And we walked to school together, and you were 5 years older and had much longer legs. You wouldn't wait for me, and I had to hurry along to try and keep up with you. You dope.
There was a guy,
It's still that way.
Kent McCallum, I think his name was, that lived up one block this side of Dodge. And I think I used to, I don't remember walking to school at all. It doesn't ring a bell at all. Well, I know we did until we got there, but it just is so weird. When you see people on TV, sometimes they'd be talking about something, and they say, "Oh yeah, I remember that when he was 5 or something." I hardly remember anything. You moved to 10.
Me either. Me either. I don't. My friend Arlene has such a good recall. She remembers all these details about our youth.
Youth?
Our youth. Yeah. So we came out here, and it was April, wasn't it? 1955.
Well, I think we arrived April 1st.
Yeah.
We left in March, 27th or something. We stayed in, where did we stay? I know we stayed one night in Santa Fe. No, it was Albuquerque.
Did we take Route 66 out here, or was it some other route, or do you know?
We went through Raton Pass in Colorado, which I don't think was 66.
No, I don't think so either.
It goes through Kansas or something. But then once we got to New Mexico, it might have been. And I think we stayed in Flagstaff. Because I remember we ate at a little cafe or something. And
Chili, right?
I forgot what we had, but
Chili.
whatever it was really hot.
Chili
we
was
kept,
hot.
We kept asking, we asked for water or something.
We were not accustomed to that type of
Gringos
food.
from Omaha.
And we lived at, was it 291 North Orange Street? 591 North Orange.
295.
290, thank you.
Is that the one on the corner?
Yeah, right across from Chapman.
That house is worth, I think it's worth $800,000. I just looked up until a
Good
while back.
grief.
It's a duplex.
Yeah.
The Moriokas lived behind us.
Oh.
Irene and
Oh.
whatever her name was. I think that was the daughter. That's a fairly big house.
That's where.
Go ahead.
That's where I felt my first earthquake. In that house. I was upstairs on the bed, and I don't know if it was you or some other kid was in there, and I was sitting on the bed, and it started to go like this, and I said, "Quit shaking the bed." And I realized it wasn't somebody shaking the bed. We were only there for a year or so, weren't we?
Yeah, just about.
And I was still in elementary school in the 4th grade. And I went to Killefer School, the end of the school year there, 4th grade and part of 5th grade, and then in the middle of 5th grade we moved to Barclay, and I switched to Cambridge Elementary School.
See, when I went to school, it was just 4 years of high school. There was no junior high.
Well, oh.
And you got junior high, so somewhere in there it
But I still had 4 years of high school.
started out.
It was 7th and 8th
Yeah.
at Yorba.
Well, of course, I started my freshman year here over again because I went a semester in Omaha, and when we moved out here, Adeline says, "Why don't you wait and start over in September because kids would be coming from Silverado and Villa Park and all that, because then they didn't have all these other schools around, and those people wouldn't know any. There'd be a lot of new people that didn't know
right.
each other.
What a good idea.
So that's what I
What a
did.
good
So I
idea.
was a year behind everybody
Yeah.
else.
Well, you weren't really. You were just a year older.
Well, I was behind because had I the people, I mean, I should have been the year before. I would have graduated in '58 instead of '59 if I'd done that.
Right.
And they, in Omaha, I think they gave you a choice of physical education or ROTC, and I picked ROTC. I mean, we moved out here and they didn't have ROTC, so then I was stuck. I had to take PE. And Doug and I, we were the last to be picked and stuff.
Oh,
and
me too.
it
me
was
too.
awful. But like I said, Daddy never had time to play sports because he was always doing something.
Not only that, I don't think they had a lot of sports back there. Not
Well, I
outdoor
can't imagine
ones.
not playing baseball. Everybody plays baseball, but not me.
I don't think we did there. I didn't.
I didn't. Of course, I didn't want to either.
Well,
but
I always said if it was during World War II and I went behind the enemy lines and came back and they'd say who won the World Series, I'd have been shot because I wouldn't have known. Never gotten back. Killed in action by our own troops.
Yeah, my early recollection of softball was at Killefer in the 4th grade, or maybe it was the 5th grade part of it. What I most remember was a ball hurling through the air, hitting me on the head on a barrette that really dug into my poor scalp, and didn't like it.
Well, I had a terrible habit of, in baseball, when I'd hit the ball, I'd throw the bat and it'd go
Oh,
hit
great!
somebody. So, and I was a lousy baseball player, lousy football player, lousy everything because I was good in track and good in gymnastics, and that was about it.
Yeah.
They wanted me to go out for track, and I was shy, and I thought about it for a while, and I never went. I remember in track, we'd run around the field, and Dale Story, who was a really good track guy, there was a wire somewhere. He had it right in his mouth, running.
Oh.
And
Lawsuit.
then I remember also there was a little dished area with water in it, and that's how I fractured my fibula because my foot turned sideways.
Oh.
And I limped to the gym, and the coach said, "Oh, I think it's just a bad sprain." So he wrapped it, and I soaked it in cold water and stuff. And I remember when Mother picked me up at lunch. I can't believe she took us to school and picked us up, or at least me, on their way to work and on the way home to lunch. So I'd go home for lunch and go back to school afterward. That's now they lock you in and you can't get out.
I don't remember getting a ride home for lunch.
But I thought it's only a few blocks away. I'm sure I walked sometime, but I don't remember ever walking to school.
Oh, I do. I remember walking home from school. I might have gotten a ride too, but I
But
remember
when
walking home
when
carrying
my
those dumb heavy books.
thing was fractured, I walked out, and I remember going across the tennis courts, and it was just like everything was like white.
Ooh.
It was, and I laid on when I lay on the sofa, and I turned my leg a certain way. It was just shooting pains, and after a week, I went to the doctor.
Oh, no.
They took me to the doctor, and they says, "Oh, you're fractured your fibula."
Oh.
So then I had it in a cast for 6
You know,
weeks, and
awful.
had crutches and stuff
Ooh.
my junior year,
Ooh.
and I did crappy that year. So then my senior year, I had to really, Mother and Daddy both helped me. Mother was English, and I guess Daddy was math or something to
No doubt.
graduate.
Yeah.
I hated school.
Yeah.
I never liked it. That's probably why I never finished college.
And somewhere. Oh, did you start college? Did you go to
I went
Fullerton?
2
You went
years.
to Fullerton, JC?
Yeah, but I never got my AA.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
And I took different things. Then I went back. Doug and I both took a business administration, I guess it was. I think I got a B in it or something.
What-
After 1970.
What did they give you for high school graduation? Was it a projector, a slide
I
projector?
think it was a Kodak Cavalcade,
Yeah,
slide
because
projector.
somewhere we have a letter.
and possibly a movie camera. That was
Somewhere
something else.
somewhere there's a letter from Daddy that that says something
yes,
about
Grandma
that.
made it. They wanted to go in with it.
Yeah, yeah, because you had worked so hard and, you know,
I was a
to
good
get
kid.
through it, and
I
you were a
wasn't
good kid.
troublemaker.
And so, yeah, yeah, I have that letter somewhere. And then, of course,
So I never got a class ring either.
oh, oh, well, so.
Well, since I don't wear jewelry
Yeah.
anymore anyway, it doesn't really matter. But
I have mine, I can only wear it on my pinky, and I don't anyway. What a waste. But then, just as I graduated from junior high, and you graduated, he just died right after you graduated, didn't you, from high school?
who?
Daddy.
I graduated 2 days after, I think. I graduated on a Thursday and he died on Saturday. He had been out chopping, showing me how to chop. Maybe it was the orange tree or something with an axe or something. And he died in his sleep.
Mm-hmm.
I remember he was in your, what was the front bedroom?
Yeah, it had been my room.
Your room.
Yeah.
And Mother found him.
Mm-hmm.
Something.
It was June of 1959.
Grandpa died
14th, I think.
in Grandma's bedroom in 57.
What?
Grandpa died in Grandma's bedroom.
Yeah.
Their bedroom.
Right.
57.
Right. And then Grandpa Al died in 1956 in Omaha.
Yeah.
So there's bang, bang, bang.
And Adela died in 71.
That's when we were up in Blocksburg.
Who bought on Barkley first?
We did.
George moved in later?
Yes. Not much later, though.
Well, we moved in there in 56 and in
Mhm.
64. I think they moved in 64, 65. So it was quite a bit later.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes. They lived at the ranch. And they sold the ranch and they lived on Hoover or something down towards Catella
Well, now wait a minute.
between Cambridge and Schaefer.
Mm-hmm.
And then they
Hmm.
moved in next door. I think that was 64.
Well, I suppose it could have been.
Well, that was only 5 years.
Well, I
Not
just
that long.
remember Melanie and I practicing ballet out in your room for recitals and such, and it just seemed like they would have been next door then.
They weren't. They
Okay.
were at the ranch.
Hmm.
Well, Grandma, you said, Grandma died in 67. Did you say that? Mention that?
Yeah. Well, let's see. I think it was 68 because I think.
No, it was 67. She had uremic poisoning
Mm-hmm.
from something.
Well, it was
Kidneys,
kidney
maybe?
failure. Yeah.
I don't
Well,
think
Cindy
she-
was more than 1 year old. That could work because Cindy would have been 1 in September of 67, and she died. Grandma died in December.
That makes me so mad that I lost all those little things from the funerals of everybody
I
that
know.
had their dates on
I
it.
know.
And I don't know where they, unless you have them.
Well, I may have some.
What were they?
Well, the little brochures, things that you get at a funeral, it has when they were born, when they died,
Right,
and their,
right.
all their stuff.
Well, I'm
I have
pretty
one
sure
for
there are
I have
some
one for
somewhere.
Daddy, one for Grandpa, one for Grandma, and one for Adeline.
Mm.
And they were in my dresser, stacked this way, and on the side of the dresser, and they're disappeared.
Mm.
So I don't know the dates or anything anymore.
Well, that's a matter of public record. We could find it.
Oh, I was thinking of how Grandma used to play the martyr thing. Oh, well, you go on. I'll just stay here. Jeez. all that, you know, and then you have to, oh, come on, you wouldn't, and then she'd finally get up and go. She was a trooper. She'd go camp. She never camped. She couldn't swim. She'd go out in the boat, and she'd take her little chair at the river, and she'd sit out on the, you know, waist deep in the water.
In her black bathing suit with her big hat on.
And she would go camping and.
Well, gosh, when we went to Yosemite and it was bloody cold, and we're tents with old-fashioned heavy cots and little old-fashioned sleeping bags.
But we went all around. We went to Oak Creek Canyon, and we went to Shasta, and we went to Yosemite, and we went to Lassen, and we went to all these places.
That's great.
And she was just going along.
And Adeline too, with her rheumatoid arthritis. Go figure.
Well, you know, we never went east from Omaha ever. Oh, into Iowa. That was about
Yeah,
it.
Arnold's Park, right?
Well, Lake Okoboji.
And Okoboji.
And which was on the Minnesota-Iowa border is, and we came out here in 47. Grandma and Grandpa went with them. They drove out. We drove out, and then in 49, I think you and Mother. Oh, maybe that's when we moved. I don't know. I'm really getting those mixed up. I came out in 49. I remember Noel taking me. Probably in 47, from the ranch down Meats or Heim to Tustin, and down Tustin to Chapman, and there was orange groves, mostly orange groves, and a house here and a house there, and just it was 2 lane, no businesses. Even Chapman was kind of that way. Now it's like Las Vegas, neon and cement and buildings.
Well, and Barkley used to end, 3 houses down from us or something?
Well, no, it was a little more than that, but
4 or 5 houses, and behind our house, the whole.
I guess the Sufferings owned all that.
The whole lot behind our houses was orange grove. There were no houses, and then at the end of the street was orange grove.
And at the end of Schaefer and Catella, there was a horse thing.
Yeah,
we used to ride our bikes down there and watch the horses.
Yeah, that was nice. The horse place, I called it.
Where Juana Maria's is.
Yeah.
That area.
That was nice.
Well, was, I should say.
Yes, yeah.
No longer. And Doug accompanied us on a lot of our sojourns to the mountains and stuff. If it wasn't for the slides and pictures I took, I probably wouldn't remember a lot of this stuff.
Right.
Because we have pictures of us eating Mother's chili up at Wrightwood.
Yeah.
And all the places we were, Shasta. I remember the water level. You could see the dirt, you know,
the red mud.
Yeah, the red mud. Where the
gushy red mud. And the mosquitoes were big enough to carry you away. They were awful. Bernie Falls was pretty, though.
I don't remember the mosquitoes. The worst time was a few years ago when Doug and I went to Yosemite, and we had shorts on. We got there about 5 o'clock or 4:30 or something, and we went through the valley, and we somewhere in the middle where you could go across the Merced on the bridge, and coming back across the bridge, Doug says, "You've got mosquitoes on you or something," and I think I had 18 bites or something by the time we went. The lady at the other end of the bridge, we said, "Oh, you got a bunch of mosquitoes on your ankles." She said, "Oh, thank you," and she didn't know. So we went to the village, Yosemite Village, and went in and got 2 kinds of bug spray or liquid or aerosol or whatever, and went back to El Portal where we were and changed clothes and put long pants on and stuff and went back. But that's the worst mosquito thing I've ever been in.
Well, you haven't been down to Topak Swamp at dusk.
I'll never forget George's bug stuff His bug oil is what it was. It was a bottle of oil.
612. It smelled like kerosene or something.
I thought that
It was
weird.
like baby
Smelled
oil.
like the most toxic,
That's 612.
and it tasted even worse.
Yes, that's 612. Absolutely, that's what that was.
And it was called Bugaboo.
Oh well, it must have been a relative of 612.
I
No,
guess
no doubt.
nasty stuff.
It came in a little military green bottle with a black cap.
Oh, I think 612 came in a clear bottle, and it was the
I guess
consistency
Skin
of
So
baby
Soft
oil.
is supposed to be good for that.
So they say.
Avon.
I haven't tried it.
What's supposed to be good?
Avon Skin So
Skin So
Soft.
Soft.
Oh.
They put it in their sunscreen now. Skin So Soft sunscreen. Keep the mosquitoes away.
Probably can't find anything with a 612 in it anymore.
It's probably toxic.
I'm sure. I have no doubt.
DDT or something.
And when Mother was a senior in high school, she was a princess in the May Festival Parade. And then when I was a senior in high school, I was a princess in the May Festival Parade when they still had the May Festival Parade.
We used to watch it from the Zipwald's porch.
Yes, that was
on
nice.
Chapman.
That was
Yeah,
nice. on
they had
Chapman.
3 lots.
606 East Chapman, that was the Zipwalds.
It's right across the street from the dentist's office.
Okay. Yeah, that's where I learned to swim.
Yeah, that was a nice pool. Big, nice pool.
I took swimming lessons with Melanie at the plunge, but that water was so nasty with chlorine. And all these kids, you know, and all that commotion, it was, so I didn't really, they would throw dimes down and you were supposed to keep your eyes open and go dive for them, and oh, nasty.
If they didn't burn out of the
Yeah,
socket.
yeah. So when we could go spend summer days at the Zipwald's pool, just lazing around, just goofing around and splashing around, and that's where I really learned.
They had 5 kids.
Yeah.
They were so nice. Pat was so nice. She was welcoming and
Mm-hmm.
warm
She
and
was
stuff.
a dear. She was just a dear, putting up with all Zip's shenanigans and skin flintiness. She told Mother after Zip had died, you know, when they lived over on Cannon, we went to visit her, and she said when she found out how much money they had socked away, she was so mad she could hardly stand it. Because he wouldn't buy her a new dress and he was the vice president of the bank, and they had nice, you know, events to go to and special dinners and stuff, and he wouldn't spring for a
They
new
always
dress
had
for his wife.
Cadillacs.
Well,
I mean, he
she
splashed
was,
on his
she
stuff
was,
and
she
not on
was
hers, I guess.
very bitter about that, because he was really chintzy. Well, for example, for graduation, my high school graduation, he gave me a really nice, nevertheless, handkerchief with my initial on it embroidered, which was sweet and thoughtful, but a little chintzy, perhaps. I still have it somewhere, I think.
Well, getting back to Omaha, Grandma Maida and Grandpa Al lived on 28th Street, and I guess, well, Charlie told in his video that
I'd like to watch that. You
Hoffman's
still have it.
Hoffman's this whatever his name was, Hoffman, built 3 houses. And Grandma Maida and Grandpa Al lived in one, and Aunt Martha and I guess Uncle Art lived in another one, and the parents lived in the third one, all side by side.
Whose father was it that was a blacksmith?
Hoffman.
Okay. And his shop burnt to the ground, and he rebuilt it. I don't know where it was.
Well, they were still living in that house when I was little, because I remember, I
Really?
can remember they had sliding doors in the parlor, living room, something, and I think they had stairway that went from you know, down, if you go up and you could go upstairs
Oh, okay.
type of thing. It's
Hmm.
sort of like for 5010, I think. Or 408 for that matter. Because
Well, I don't remember anything but 3027 Arcadia.
408, you go in and you were in the living room, and then the dining room was off this way, and there were stairways that went up to a little landing, and you could go
I
upstairs
don't
or you
remember
could go
any
down
of
into
that.
the kitchen.
I don't remember any of that.
And that house is very similar to Aunt Martha's, I think, because from the kitchen you'd go down the stairs and down in the basement, and Aunt Martha's house was just the same.
Hmm. Okay.
And when we lived on 56th Street, Bertha Mosher lived at the end of the street, north, at the bottom of the street, because it was uphill to our house and downhill to her house. She lived
Bertha
on the
Mosher
corner.
was Janie's mother, I assume.
Yes,
Our mother's dear friend, Janie.
and Grandma's friend Florence Brown, Aunt Floss, as we called her, lived a couple of street or so over.
Mm-hmm.
And Aunt Martha was fairly close by too, at that time. Interesting. And then when we moved back, of course we moved from there. Howard Kennedy lived on our street. He was
I don't remember him.
well, he was my age, and when we came back, we were in the same class at Dundee
Mm-hmm.
years later.
Mm-hmm.
I just thought of that just now. I never put it together.
Boy.
Mhm.
Cut.